Today on the show is part one of a two-part series on how Dick Grayson became Nightwing once again and how the classic Titans became reunited. So to give you a bit of a backstory on Titans Hunt before we really get into the story. So from 1990 to 1992, there was actually a story in the New Titans called Titans Hunt. It ran from issue 71 to number 84 and was written by Marv Wolfman. He was one of the two creators that elevated the Titans to legendary status. On his run on this book, it was one of the best-selling comics in the world. In 2011, the New 52 came around and basically unceremoniously erased the Titans' history from DC continuity. Like, there was no respect paid for them. Fans were obviously pissed off. No one stopped talking about it. There's still a large part of the fan base to this day that are pissed off. I think what didn't help was Scott Lobdell's Teen Titans and Red Hood and the Outlaws, which was supposed to be his attempt on the Titans, just weren't as good as what we had been getting previously. So then DC is planning DC Rebirth, and they announced Titans Hunt. And all we know about Titans Hunt is that it's going to reunite the classic Titans from the 1960s. It's being written by Dan Abnett, and he's being heavily influenced by Marv Wolfman and George Perez's run on the Teen Titans. Story only gets crazier from here, so let's get into it. So our story starts off with Roy Harper, and he's looking at this water tower, and it reminds him of something. It either looks like a weight or a T, but he can't put his finger on what it reminds him of. But then he realizes this town's tornado sirens have been going off for like a solid minute at this point, so he goes into a close pit stop, buys a bottle of whiskey, and the guy behind the counter can't serve him, so he calls his assistant Narc over. And Roy's like, "Oh, Narc, what sort of name is that?" And this guy's just like, "It's a name." Like, he doesn't even care what Roy has to say. When Roy is paid, he reaches for his ID, he knocks over the bottle of whiskey and is able to catch it just before it falls on the floor. Narc is like, "Oh, you're speedy." And Roy's like, "Wait, what did you just say?" And Narc is like, "Your reflexes, they're speedy." Roy leaves after this, and the thing about Roy with his drinking is he doesn't drink because he wants to forget anything or he has any inner demons. He drinks because of his lack of inner demons. He feels like he's forgotten something major, something very important in his life, so he's trying to drink to remember. It's sort of a way of finding out more about himself. Then we go to Dick Grayson. He's on the last legs of a covert operation. He's trying to stop these people that are selling Atlantean organs. Like, it's a total black market thing. And just when he's about to go in and stop them, an actual Atlantean turns up and starts beating all of these people up to kill them. Dick tries to stop this Atlantean and he is totally thrashed, and he tries giving chase, but the Atlantean escapes into a whirlpool before Dick can do anything. And Dick doesn't manage to save any of these people's lives so they can be held accountable for their crimes. He only has a box with Atlantean lungs inside of it. Meanwhile, Donna Troy is standing on her own, and a man comes up to her and she says, "How long has this shack been in this derelict state?" And this man's like, "Oh, I don't know, about 5 years." And he says, "Are you in trouble?" And she says, "I think I might be." At the same time, Malcolm Duncan is winning an award for his work on Trouble Always Finds You. Back with Dick, he's on the phone to someone, and that's when a woman called Lilith appears before him. She is talking super cryptically, and all he can gather is that he has to find the others, whoever the others are, try and remember what he's forgotten, and to think about the whirlpool. Then we're back with Roy. He passed out from drinking so much whiskey. He calls up his addiction counselor to apologize for missing a session, and his addiction counselor turns out to be Lilith. Meanwhile, on her end, she just basically tells Roy not to worry, just to get to her as soon as possible. Then Lilith begins talking to this presence that we can't see, but she's obviously very familiar with it, and she says that this presence can't have any of them. And it turns out that she has files on all the original Teen Titans. Later that day, Roy's being a role model and drink driving when a shadow jumps out in front of him, so obviously he swerves to stop it, and he jumps out of his car with his bow and arrow at the ready to attack in case he has to, and the police have seen this entire thing. Then we're with Dick at the Batcave, and he's trying to do research on Atlanteans to find out more about that Atlantean he ran into to try and lure him out to talk to him. And then Alfred walks in. The two of them have this really cute interaction. Like, Dick hugs Alfred, and Alfred's like, "Oh, okay, so this is a thing that's happening." And then there's a part where Alfred asks what's in the box, and Dick is just like, "Oh, lungs of an Atlantean." And Alfred just says, "For once, I would like an answer that I could be mentally prepared for." It's so cute. I love it so much. We split over to Narc. Turns out he's gone full-on caveman. He's been treated as slave labor for God knows how long, but he's had like this awakening in his mind, so he's just leaving this place because it's time to go and hunt in his mind. Then we go straight back to Dick, and Alfred has given Dick the idea to use the Atlantean organs as bait to lure the Atlantean out. Then we're back with Roy, and he's being arrested, and he ends up being like, fuck this. He fights back. The police are like, you shouldn't be doing this. And Roy's like, I don't want to be doing this. I want to be with the one person that can help me right now. But then this voice starts speaking to him, and the police can't hear this voice, so they think Roy is nuts. One of the reasons they probably think this though is like the whole heroin addict chic look Roy has going on at the moment, but that's neither here nor there. But this voice is talking in riddles, and Roy's trying to respond to it and understand what it's saying, but like he just can't figure it out, and before he even gets a chance to process what's going on, he gets tasered. We're back with Malcolm. He's doing a phone interview when his wife Bumblebee screams for him. He runs upstairs to her because she is heavily pregnant and he thinks that his wife could have fallen into labor, but then she shows him a picture of the award ceremony, and behind Malcolm is this sinister looking shadow. Back with Dick, he goes to a beach, he throws the Atlantean lungs in the sea, and sure enough, Garth turns up, but Garth does not want to talk. He just wants to kill Dick at this point. And Dick is going to die. He is going to die. But then Donna Troy turns up, punches Garth into the distance, and says that both Garth and Dick have been in her dreams and she wants answers. Then we see Lilith. She's trying to get in touch with Roy, but he's not picking up. She doesn't know why. She's really worried. And then the same disembodied voice that was taunting Roy is now taunting her. But she is very familiar with this voice. She instantly tells the voice that she does not give it permission to enter this building, which tells us as the readers that this voice is a demon, because demons can only enter a building if you give it permission. This voice taunts her, telling her that it wants all of them, whoever them are. She doesn't have it in her to fight back, and then she just smashes the receiver that the voice is talking through. Then we're back with Dick and Donna, and the two of them feel very familiar to each other, and they introduce themselves and they're like, we already knew that. How did we already know that? Then out of nowhere, Garth attacks again, so Dick runs for cover into a shack. Donna comes crashing through one of the walls, and all of them realize they know this shack, but they've never been there before. Back with Malcolm and Bumblebee, she thinks there's something sinister about this picture, and he thinks she's just bored because she's pregnant. Then we see where Roy's gotten to. He's been locked up, he's being questioned, these police are treating him like shit, they're not even giving him one phone call. Not one phone call. Then Narc comes along, takes all of the police out, tests Roy by shooting an arrow at him. Roy's able to catch this arrow, and he says, "You're Speedy, I was testing you." And Roy's like, "I could have died," and Narc is like, "Only if you weren't Speedy," and he lets Roy out, and the two go on the run. Back with our trio, they're all beginning to remember more and more, like the fact that they had hero names, but then simultaneously, all of the members of the Titans hear this noise that is so painful, Malcolm even ends up having a brain aneurysm from hearing it. And it is instantly confirmed that the demon made this noise. What's interesting is we have a shot of Hawk and Dove, and Hawk confirms that he hears this noise, but Dove did not hear a thing. Then we have a flashback to when the Titans were a team. They're losing badly against something, we don't know what, but they are losing. They've already lost Harold. Wonder Girl is especially sensitive to magic energies, so she is really messed up. Roy's trying to calm her down because he's her boyfriend, but it's not really working. They continue onwards, and then they are all attacked by the noise they heard in the present day. In the present day, our trio confirmed that they all just saw this flashback together. They're all freaking out, especially Garth, and Dick suggests that they might have all been friends in the past and they just can't remember for some reason. But then Garth just kind of dismisses this, and honestly it was getting on my nerves a little bit at this point in the story, but I guess that's the point of his character. Meanwhile, Malcolm's wife, Bumblebee, finally makes it to the hospital, and she wants to go and check on Malcolm, but what she doesn't know is Malcolm's actually been taken to some kind of alternate dimension, like his ambulance never made it to the hospital, and here he is being tormented by Mr. Twister. It is worth noting that noise they just heard was described as somewhere between a scream and music, and it's completely indescribable, but just hearing it makes them feel so much agony. Then we have Hawk and Dove, and they're doing their own hero activities, but then Hawk remembers someone has died, so he ends up going berserk. Dove calms him down. Then we have a scene with Roy and Narc. They're trying to steal a car so they can go and see Lilith. And then with our trio, Dick remembers he brought something with him, and he thinks he might be able to lure whatever's going after them out by getting this thing that he brought with him. And the other two are like really confused, looking at him like, what could you possibly have? And it turns out to be his Nightwing suit. Dick Grayson becomes Nightwing once again. This is the first time that he has worn his Nightwing suit in a really long time, and that's where we're going to end Part 1. I have to say, I really like Titans Hunt. It's not as emotionally driven as the Marv Wolfman and George Perez era of the Teen Titans, but I still really like it. Emotions are still in the forefront. It's not exactly a soap opera, but it's still great. What I really like about this story is that noise. I know it's something like it's just something that's in the story, but it's very like H.P. Lovecraft inspired if you think about it. Like it's a noise that you can't fully describe, and just hearing it puts you in so much pain and agony. I kind of wish they went further with the Lovecraftian thing. Like, I understand they were trying to revive the Titans, so you kind of have to do it in a way that won't alienate the current Titans fans while bringing back the old fans. And there's never exactly been too much Lovecraftian influence in the Titans. Like, it's kind of there with Brother Blood, but not really. But I kind of wish they went further with it, just because why be extra when you can be the most? So in the next part, we're going to see the team's final battle with Mr. Twister and just how the Titans reunite as a team. It's super effective! Okay guys, that is it for today. So what do you think of Titans Hunt so far? Are you happy to see Nightwing again in this story? Please leave it in the comments down below. Also don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe, do all of my social links, and I will see you next time.